I'd like to extend this welcome to Kumu Ramsay Taum. Ramsay Taum is the founder and president of the Hawaii-based Life Enhancement Institute of the Pacific. A recognized cultural resource, Ramsay is sought after as a keynote speaker, lecturer, trainer, and facilitator. Mentored and trained by respected kupuna, Hawaiian elders, he is a practitioner and instructor of several native Hawaiian practices, including Ho'oponopono, which is stress release and meditation, Iomi Haha, body alignment, and Kaihewalu, Lau, Hawaiian combat battle art. As an ordained interfaith minister, Kumu Ramsay also conducts cleansing and blessings, as well as weddings. Could we all extend our hands, and Kumu, if you'd stand, please, and let's say this blessing to him. May the light of God surround you, the love of God enfold you, the power of God protect you, the presence of God watch over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, mahalo, mahalo, mahalo. Thank you so much for that welcome. It's always good to be here. Welcome back at Unity Church of Hawaii. How about a hand for the orchestra? Aren't they great? And the conductor, it's beautiful. It sets the tone, the space, the the air that we're in. E holokono no ke kino ame kauhane. He maalama pono kamanao, ki ola ke kino, he kamanava apauloa. Aloha, aloha, anawai kako. E vila na mai, velina. Aloha. Mahalo, mahalo. You know, in those words, it speaks to the idea of unifying mind, body, and spirit. And then nurturing, caring for that union through all time. So when you unify mind, body, and spirit, that's when you become one. You become pono. And it is that pono, that connectedness to all things. It is then that we can share aloha. Really, truly share aloha. And so on this Aloha Sunday, it's a pleasure to be back. Thank you for having me. And Brother Levitt, thank you for sharing, the word of the day. I understood that the month we're looking at this notion of divine order. And it seems that it is in order with you sharing this notion of wholeness or whole. Because, that's another definition or meaning of aloha. Aloha is about leaving people whole, leaving places whole, leaving them better than when we found them or they found us. Right? To give and to receive, to leave people whole. So I think it's quite appropriate. Thank you. That the divine order has brought this concept, this thought we're talking about today. Because when I was invited, I had to think, last time I was here, we talked about different things, and I like to build on it so that we walk away, we're piha, we're full, So I had to really meditate, pule on it, and this notion of oya i'o came to me. In broad terms, it means trust, truth, trustworthiness, honesty, transparency, certainty, commitment, all of these things. And so I said, okay, well, I'll trust in that message and we'll go. We'll see. Now, the image you see behind me with the words on it is actually a navigational hail. It's much like a compass. And I think it's appropriate because for me, aloha, as well as the elements that make up aloha, such as oya i'o, serve as compasses for us to navigate our lives, navigate through life, through our relationships. But what's interesting is that this compass is an internal compass. It's not something that's outside of us, as is aloha. And so I'm inspired by this notion of the aloha spirit, the spirit of aloha, and give tribute and mahalo to Auntie Pilahi Paki, who happened to be my kupuna, aloha and teacher in these concepts and thoughts, because in the spirit of aloha, which she also inspired, for those that you may not know, there is a law, the spirit of aloha, law. So aloha's spirit, aloha is a behavior. It's a way of being. It's just not a word that we throw out, but it's a way of expressing oneself. And in Polynesia, I had another close friend of mine. He's Papali. He's a chief from Samoa. And he reminded me, he goes, Mahelani, you remember that in Polynesia, there is a concept that says you are either self-evident or self-proclaimed. Self-evident or self-proclaimed. And I know a lot of people are self-proclaimed. They use aloha all the time, but awe nohoe, they never demonstrate it. Yeah. And so aloha is much like that. It's not so much what we say, but how we behave, how we act. And sometimes how we don't act. That is also a demonstration of aloha. Right? So in these terms, these concepts, we've talked about them before, but given our time of year where we are, I felt that the middle word, olu olu, was one that I would focus on. But as I meditated on that, I said, maybe even that may miss it. Let's look at it, right? The word olu olu. Olu olu means to be agreeable, to agree with others, but also to be expressed with pleasantness. Now, what my observation is to be agreeable as a facilitator. Oftentimes we start the sessions with a set of behaviors, guidelines, protocols. Yeah. And we agree to disagree, and then we fight the rest of the day. Oh, wait. But for me, it means, olu olu means to agree to disagree, but not be disagreeable about it. Right? That yes, we can come to different opinions and thoughts. We all come from different places. We see the world differently. But it shouldn't mean that we dislike one another. We need to be angry about that. You know, it's to honor the similarities and respect the differences. That's olu olu. Yeah. The challenge, of course, is as we go about our business, it's the tone and the demeanor of the meeting that reveals olu olu. Or ole olu olu. Whether it is or it isn't, right? It's how we behave, the tone of our language. Because if we're not watching and guarding our demeanor, the meaner we get. We get meaner and meaner and meaner. And then we say, aloha. There's a dissonance that's not happening. It doesn't connect. So I also look at olu olu as pleasantness. You know, there's a tendency to look at that as an externality. And what I mean by that is, I'm sure we all have had that experience before, where you see someone, you work with someone who's got it all together. The hair is in place. They got the right watch, the right shoes, everything is just pleasant. And they're very pleasant externally, but once they open their mouth, oh wait, no way, the waha come out. There's something not running with this guy. You're not all start screaming. I don't know. Looks good from far, but far from good. For my friends in the mainland, I'm going to go to the colloquial stuff every now and then. Looks good from far, but far from good. Olu olu, not always the outside so good, you know? So what is it? What is that talking to you? And I think that's something else. It's truth. It doesn't matter how you say it, what language you use. When it's true, it's true. You know it, you feel it, you see it, you sense it. You don't have to hear it. And that word is oya i'o. Everyone say oya i'o. Oya i'o. Yeah, it's a very powerful word. It's one that we don't use too often. And perhaps we should. At least meditate on it a little more. Oya i'o. Because oya i'o, in truth, means true. Truth. Fact. It is what it is. You don't argue it. It is what it is. That's oya i'o. But as you drill down to oia, it's even more so. It's truly, it's genuine, it's real, it's authentic. Certainly means certainty. It's certain. I can count on it. You know, divine order. And yet, when we look around us, I don't know about you, But it feels like we're living in a lot of disorder. Would you agree? I mean, it's like everywhere we look on our front, you can't turn the television on, you can't turn the radio on, you can't do anything without somebody reminding you of the disorder. And then asking us to accept it for what it is. You know, we're entering a season where we have to select and elect those to represent us. And I'm not sure I can trust what's being said. I'm not sure. I don't know where it's coming from. This disorder. Where's the oya i'o? Where's the truth in these things? That's what that's talking about. Can we be sure? Is there any assurances that we're getting from people when they speak to us? It's a very powerful word because it looks at it from multiple angles. Oya i'o is faithfulness. You know, we have people who have demonstrated that they're not always living up to their word. They say one thing, they do another. How can I have faith that today, what they say is what they'll do tomorrow? When they've demonstrated historically that we can't rely on that. Or they're not faithful to their word. So it becomes very, very difficult. And at some point in time, if we're not careful, we lose faith in our own ability to recognize truth. Because we're relying so heavily on the truth being interpreted to us by others. So here's the risk. Anytime we live an existence that relies on externalities for our identity, we become the victims of those externalities. We're living a victimhood. Because it isn't until those things change or become better that we become better. Which means if they want to be worse, we'll be worse. So like the compass earlier, oya i'o, truth, needs to be an internal compass. It's a lens that we can help define when things are true and resonates to us, rather than waiting for it to reveal itself as truth. The criteria of selection needs to come from within, perhaps, preferably, from something greater than us. This is oya i'o. It's the compass. It's sincerity. When someone is sincere, you know it. When you're not, it's that guy. Pleasant on the outside, not so good on the inside. You know, we live in a world of packaging, advertising, and marketing. And oftentimes we fall for it, you know. But when someone is sincere, you know they're telling the truth. It resonates. You know, the great queen, Liliuokalani, spoke about Aloha, and she says, Aloha is to know the unknowable, to see the unseeable. In other words, she said, to see without looking, to hear without listening, and to feel without touching. This is Aloha. It's an inside job. It's internalized. And what she's really saying is she's talking about truth. To know truth, to speak truth, to be truth. That's what she's saying. And you don't have to look for it because it's there. You see it without looking. It's there. That's sincerity. Yeah. And notice, if it's not there, the first three words make themselves relevant. Yeah. If I not can hear, sin. So at some point in time, oya i'o is a powerful thing. But what makes this even more powerful, I think, is the lessons by Auntie Pelahi as she teaches us and she's taught those of us to listen and look differently, is that the language that we use, Olelo Hawaii, is an elemental language. It's a spiritual language. Every time you utter the sounds and you put them together with intention, you're actually calling upon the elements. You're influencing movement. The consonants tell the vowels and the sounds where to go, or the vowels and sounds are the true spirits. Our kupuna would commune with them through their olelo. Yeah? So the word ah, for instance, everyone say ah. Yeah, that's fire. It's heat. Like Ra, Allah, Yahweh, Ata. Right? The ah, the ahi. That's fire. And each one of these sounds, ah, e, o, u, call upon a particular element. And so, for me, oya i'o, truth, is foundational. And interesting enough, it starts with the letter O. O is about the earth, the foundation. The foundation, the roots, where things come from. And oya i'o is rooted with these three energies. O, foundation, the earth, to o, to dig. Your head is po'o. In your head is darkness, po, until lightened and knowledgeable. Enlightenment, a'o, comes in. And then you can express yourself through that po, and that po is called mana'o. Mana'o, the energy of one's opinions and thoughts, which you share in ohana, family, where you work together. You know, you take hana out, only get o away, only 0. Dysfunctional family. You got a hana to ohana. It takes work. Yeah. That's the o in ohana. That's the foundation. The E, the water, the spirit, the spiritual energy, the God creator, that all things, it's in all of us. It's the chicken skin when you see one another. I don't know your name, but I know you. Chicken skin. That's the E. Vai, kai. The water that flows. Like truth. When it's right, it flows. Unfortunately, there are those who flow the other stuff too. Yeah? You gotta watch those guys. They're good at flowing that not so true stuff. Then, of course, there's the which we've already talked about, that heat energy that gives us energy. Now, when you put those three together, that's oya, and oya means true. But we're going to explore these things. Oi. Everyone say oi. Oi. Not oi vey, but oi. Sharp, acute, or sharpness. There's an olelo no iao in Hawaiian. A proverb says, words give life, words take life. We can be very sharp and hurtful with our words sometimes. And you can malama and lomi somebody with the words too. Yeah. But you have to be clear about what it is you're saying. As Auntie Pillai says, the seeds of thought watered by the emotions of heart, yeah, when expressed in words and deeds, become life. They're out there. You can't bring it back. Once you say it, it's out there. It's floating. Aloha is about giving and receiving. So what you give to the world, one day you shall receive, whether you want it or not. The seeds we plant, eventually we reap, right? So we all know this. We've heard this before. So this is to be careful with our words. But oi is also something superior, something bigger than us, something greater than us. In fact, when she does her pule, Auntie Pillai would start her prayer with saying, E kou mako oia nakamakua mauloa. Oia nakamakua mauloa. Makua, the father, the parent, the mother. Oya, that thing much greater, that giant, that big superior parent through time. E kouma ko oya nakamakua mauloa. Oya. That thing is huge. And in the word oya is ya. Aloha or mahalo ya oi. The identifier. It identifies you and me. But it talks about something higher, something bigger, such as one's boss, supervisor, or someone that we've given trust to. We've entrusted them. Are they consistent? Are they constant in their behaviors and their words? Because true also means, the person walks in, oya, truth. When you speak to me and I speak to you, can I be confident that my thoughts and my feelings will be shared, that I share with you will stay with you? Have you ever been in a room when someone says, oh yeah, they start talking about other people? Yeah, John, he's always like that. We just gotta, yeah. John walks in, well, John, come sit down. And that goes, at that point, you gotta start thinking about it. Oh, I wonder if they talk about me like that when I'm not in the room. Right? Many times we've all about truth, but we don't realize that these subtle signs we're telling other people. You can't trust me because when you're not in the room, I'm going to talk about you. I feel free enough to talk about him while you here. He's not. Guess what? Right? I mean, that's when the distrust starts to grow within us. It undermines our faith. It undermines our confidence in one another. But more importantly, it begins to undermine us internally. So this stuff is really important. Is it consistent? Can you rely on it? Will it continue? Not just today, but do I use truth? And do I only use truth when I want to win the popularity contest? Do I say what's right and appropriate and what's pono only to get votes? Or to the one group and then change my words when I'm with another group? Is that truth? Well, it's true for them, but not true for them, so I'm just speaking their truth. Yes, there may be multiple truths, but there's only one pono. It is or it isn't. Okay? And so There's a term when someone does correctly say, oh yeah. Everyone say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, perfect. Right. Certainly. That's right. It's likely to be. That's true. Oh yeah. Yeah. But we do now live in a time when sometimes I cannot say, oh yeah. I go, ole. I don't know. But it's interesting how the word awe and oive are pretty close. We all related. Now there's another word, ia. Ia. Ya. Ia. Right? So this is the notion of a pronoun. More than one, he, she, him, her, them. But then there's the plural. All of us. Kako. But it's this one. Unit of measure. Ya means measure. Because truth is a way of measuring things, isn't it? When someone speaks to us, we're measuring whether or not I can trust, whether I'm willing to convey and give, extend myself beyond myself because of what I think you're saying, what you've committed to me. It's a unit of measure. Now, what I didn't say earlier in the other gatherings we had this morning was that there's another word, ia. Most of us know it as fish. Ia. But it's not just fish. It's any fleshy meat, source of sustenance. And I think it's very appropriate because trust, the meat of it, right? If you can't trust the substance of one's words, their behaviors, there is no nutrition in that. You leave empty. In fact, you leave wanting, looking, hungry, right? Unfulfilled when there is no meat, when there is no substance. That's the ia. So it's a very powerful concept, this thing called oya ia, especially when you break it down. Because it is about what we feed others. It is about what we eat when they speak to us. Because we feed people physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Our words feed people. Our behaviors, our actions. Others are consuming that daily. We are consuming what we're fed as well. And so in oya iyo, can I trust? I'm told now I can't even trust my food. All right? We don't know where it comes from, but they tell us, but they're not willing to tell us what's in it. Right? I mean, it's permeating everything. Right? At some point in time, we have to trust somebody. And who is that? And if we don't have a direct line to the truth in us, then yes, we are victims of other people's definitions of truth. Yeah? So it's food, nutrition, source of energy, and my energy source should be something bigger. Yeah? That bigger is iyo. Everyone say iyo. Yeah, so one of the older principles of concepts is the divine creator was iyo. The thing that created all of us and all around us. But here, iyo is true or genuine. So there's different ways of using the word true. This is about the genuineness of it, like the earth. True earth. If I can't trust that, I can't walk. True air, wind. If I can't trust that, I can't breathe. Right? Light, sound. If I can't trust and see what I hear, see or hear, what can I trust? What I rely on? Right? That's what this is, iyo. Really, truly. And more importantly, worthiness. Am I worthy of this? Are they worthy of my belief and faith in them? That's what it is. If I don't have faith in that, I don't leave the house. Right? We have to have faith in something. There needs to be some truth that we find. But ultimately, we need to develop the eyes, the ears, the heart to feel and identify what is true. And honor that. It's inside. Yeah. And so to me, oya iyo is even more powerful because it works both ways, always. It's a palindrome. You know what a palindrome is? It's a word that goes forward and back, like these examples. Mom, Dad, Bob. Either way you write it. I like this one. Madam, I'm Adam. Either way you read it. But oya iyo is like that. What oya iyo is, it's true when I walk in, and it's true when I walk out. When I see you walking in, I know I'm going to get the real deal. That you're going to be honest, you're going to be clear, you're going to be transparent. I don't have to question what it is you say. You say you're going to do it, I know you're going to do it. And when you walk out, I know it's going. And when I walk out, I'm not going to have knives in my back because you said aloha. That's what that is. In and out. So when you take all of these words and you put them together, oia i'o is a very powerful concept. Because what it says is that oi, it starts with truth. Oia i'o is centered in truth because the divine is there. The the awesome, right? It's there. It's center and core to truth. And it ends with truth. I'o, the true inspiration for all things. And so either way you look at it, you say it forward or back, it needs to be true. And that's how we need to be. At some point in time, we should be inspired to know that when I walk in and I walk out, I am the same truth. And that anyone else we deal with can trust that too. Right? Because what we feed others is what we get back. Right? Now here's the challenge. When we start distrusting others, in many ways, we're demonstrating a distrust in ourselves. And there are many reasons for us to begin to question ourselves and our judgments. We were told one thing and now we see another. But I trusted that. And all of a sudden we start questioning our judgment. Yeah. So at some point in time we must rebuild that trust. We must go in and we must connect back to that true foundation, the i'o, the divine inspiration. And open ourselves up to that. Because if not, then we are all lost. Yeah. This is aloha. And that's why aloha is so powerful. In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was good. And I believe the Word was aloha. Because in the center of aloha, and you put oia i'o right in the middle of it all, aloha is about truth. It is about trustworthiness. It is about being genuine and authentic and real. So when you say aloha, it's a commitment. Because when I utter those words out of my mouth, I'm giving life to them on that life-giving breath of ha. So when you say aloha, you are saying, whether it's 3 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 days, 3 hours, when you say aloha, you're saying, I will not damage this space, this sacred space between us. The sacred space in you and me, because that is divine. We are now in the presence, the alo. We are joined and connected to that spiritual divineness of ha. So who am I to damage that? Yeah. So it's a commitment when you say aloha. Now, if you can't make that commitment, if you don't know you can live up to that commitment, just say hi. Hi. How you? How's it? Let us. Yeah? No commitment. Hey, how's it? Dummy. How's it? Later. Right? Because there's no giving in that. It's just like, it's an acknowledgement. But you want to connect and you want to have a relationship with somebody, it's aloha. Because then it's a real you, the real me, the real them. The I to I, the I am to the I am. Do this with me, everyone. Just say, I am and your first name. Ready to go. I am Hanoho. I am Hanoho. I am. And we're all I am. You see that? It's funny, when we all said I am, it resonated. When we went to the words, confusion. But when the I am, it was very clear. Right? It resonated. Because we are all I am. And with aloha, we speak eye to eye. Truth to truth. Oia i'o. This is the power of oia i'o. This is the power of aloha. Honesty at the center of aloha. Oia i'o. So what oia i'o, when you put it all together, it's this. To be true, through and through. To be trustworthy, true and through. Not sometime, all the time. Right? Not because it's convenient. In fact, truth is often inconvenient. It may be one of the hardest things there is, but if it's that hard, then it might not be true. From start to finish, beginning to end, trust the divine within. Can't go wrong. This is Aloha. This is Oia'i'o. And may each of us live truth in every day, in every breath. Because we only got the shot to do it. So join me in this meditation. Go ahead and close your eyes. Or you can read it. Read it with me. If I'll say it, you repeat it. Yeah? Akahai ena Hawaii. And what those words are, kindness to be expressed with tenderness. Lokahi. Akulike. Unity to be expressed with harmony. Olu olu. Kamanao. Pleasant are your thoughts. Think pleasant thoughts. Believe pleasant things. Ha'a ha'a. Ko kulana. Yeah. Humility. Ha'a ha'a. To be expressed with modesty. And finally, aho nui. Alanakila. Patience. To be expressed with perseverance. Consistency. Oia'i'o. This is Aloha. 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 We'll close with this pule in prayer by our Queen. And if you want to just close your eyes and find that silent place of Oia'i'o. Because in her words, she acknowledges this truth and this trust in that thing that is greater than us all, that is within us all, that is us all. O ko aloha no, ai ai kalani, a o ko oia'i'o, he mole le ho'i. Aloha, aloha. Aloha kākou e mālama pono. Ahui ho. Mahalo.